Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening and good morning. Welcome to the Pascal Show. We got some things to get into. Some really crazy things have been going on over the past couple hours today. This is some pretty crazy stuff. I will be completely honest. It is a circus in New York City right now. And I know a lot of you guys are wondering. Well, actually, none of y'all should be wondering. You guys should already know what's going down and why it's going down in the way that it's going down. Trump has been arrested. Let me repeat that. Our former president, number 45, has been arrested. Pretty wild stuff. A moment in time that I don't think any of us, well, we've never seen this ever happen. A president or former president being indicted on charges that are very, very interesting, guys. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff indeed. Now, I'm going to leave you guys with your own opinions. You know, we try to keep this open for everyone to come in and speak their minds. I know some of y'all out here feel that this is unjust. Some of y'all say this is what tyranny looks like in 2023. And some of y'all going to lock his Dorito ash up. Well, it's very interesting. It's very interesting indeed. So we got some things. We're going to look at a bunch of stuff. We got we have this live feed as well that we're looking at, that we are going to be taking a look at here. There's a lot that's going on. I'm going to try to cover as much as I can, but at the same time, he's already been arrested. He's, from my understanding right now, in the courtroom, or he's about to be arraigned. And that arraignment can happen any moment now. But he has been arrested as we speak. He's been arrested for a good 30 minutes or so. So now he's about to get arraigned, and it's going to be something very interesting. Okay, so we got to go into it. All right. So please do me a favor, hit that like button down below, because let's be real. I know some of y'all are like, whoa, Pascal talking politics today. Yeah, I am, because I talk about everything on this show, y'all. I talk about everything. Okay. And this is a big moment in history, in American history. Big, huge moment. Okay. Whatever side you stand on, it is still a moment in history. Okay. And it's shocking. And I think we can all agree across the aisle that this is just shocking. Okay. So hit that like button down below. If you can, that'll be greatly appreciated. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that join button down below, hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know when I go live and all that good stuff. Let's get into it, guys. Because, you know, we could sit here and talk about how shocked we are all the live long day. I am shocked. I'm going to be real. I'm 110% floored. And that's just my personal opinion. But there is a lot that's going on surrounding this particular thing. So there's a couple things that I want to share with you guys, of course. So let me just make sure I have. Come on. Just want to make sure I have those things up. Now, for those of you guys who are still kind of wanting to know what the heck is going on, why this happened, and this is, I just typed into the Googles a quick question, okay? And I just said, why is Trump arrested? Just so we can kind of get a very basic, bland explanation of this. And this is what it says here. Okay, it says Donald Trump is the first former U.S. president to be arrested on criminal charges. He's being arraigned right now, or he's about to be arraigned within minutes at the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse on criminal charges said to be related to hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in 2016. Also, they're basically saying that there could be other charges in there that involve hush money on a Playboy centerfold Playboy model by the name of Karen McDougal as well. We don't know if that information is coming out yet or not, or if those are part of the charges, but let's keep it real. He's getting in trouble for trying to keep an adult film star quiet, for having extramarital affair with with Stormy Daniels. Let's just say that. Okay. So there's some very interesting stuff that's going on here. Okay. Very wild stuff. Of all things, of all the things that he could have been in trouble for, that he could have been caught red-handed doing, he's getting in trouble for hush money to a spicy film star. Let's just say that. Okay. It is a little funny. It's very weird. It's unprecedented. This is weird as hell, y'all. Very weird. Okay. We can all agree on that. All right. We can all agree on that this is odd. Okay. Tyler Hackner, thank you so much for the 2. He says, this feels so good. I love seeing him suffer. I don't care. Hey, that's your opinion. Hey, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. Tyler Hackner, again, thank you. Should be in trouble for J6 instead. Yeah. But what one thing that I find very interesting right now is that allegedly he had the option of bringing in some cameras into court. And apparently he waived that option. He himself waived that option. He said, no, it would just cause too much of a circus. And let me tell you, it's been a circus already, y'all. We're going to be looking at those things too. Okay, we are going to go into that. All right. But nonetheless, this is some wild stuff. And allegedly, he's going to be going back to Mar-a-Lago and doing a speech tonight, to his people about all this as well. Okay. So this is some crazy stuff. Again, pretty wild and mind-blowing stuff. So according to this here, let me share this with you guys. According to News Nation right now, they're saying that Trump is now in the courtroom for arraignment. There he is. Blammo. Let's take a listen to what they got to say here, because this is crazy. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Hit the number 1. Make sure you guys can hear this. Let's go.
Subpoena. As we're understanding, these pictures were taken just before court got underway. Whether or not the judge was inside there or not, we don't know. Guys, and I'm going to bring you all in on sort of the mechanisms of this. How are these pictures coming to us? And are there going to be more? Let's see if the control room, are we getting these off a feed? So we're getting these off a feed from what is called the pool feed. So all the media organizations agree that we're all going to share everything. There were only 5 photographers let in. And this is the only picture so far that's been released. You can imagine between the 5 photographers, there would be more. Emily Jashinsky, just take us through, and I know Phil Wegman's got some great reporting on this as well, the decision to send out that T-shirt fundraising email. And I can just imagine we're going to start getting these side-by-sides of these pictures, the T-shirt fundraising email that looks like a fake mugshot. What does the Trump campaign and what is Donald Trump, the greatest showman on earth, want to portray by this picture, this look?
But let's understand, we have a two-party system. If you're telling me that by not supporting, if it were Donald Trump, that we're going to keep going down this path of big government, socialism, massive inflation, a lack of economic
we got the wrong audio. We got the wrong audio. We're not really sure who that was that was talking or how that ended up on air. Emily Jashinsky with the Federalist. Are you still here? Can you still hear me?
Somebody's about to get fired.
Oh, no. May Mailman, former White House counsel's office with the president. May, appreciate you being with us. You've been in the White House. You know what Donald Trump likes to portray. What was the image that the former president wanted here? What does this face mean?
I mean, oddly, he looks a little bored, which, of course, this is the least boring day in his life in quite a while. So, it's hard to tell because this isn't really a trial. He's not really in front of anything that we've ever seen before. This is a pure political production. And so I think that he's just trying to portray nothing here. And then we'll move to his show later. His show will start as soon as he leaves this courtroom and will carry on to his primetime address tonight. So this is a nothing. No one pay attention to this. This isn't a real trial.
Burger.
This judge is not here to, be the face of the rule of law. This is nothing. And then if you're going to play political games, we're going to play political games, but it's going to be, I'm going to be a part of that too, because he's the presidential candidate here.
You know what's funny to me is that they're sitting here going like, what in this photo right here while he's in court and getting his arraignment? What is he feeling? Can somebody just analyze his face and tell us what he's feeling? Just curious. Do you know what he's feeling? Like, no, who cares? He's going through court. He's getting arraigned, for crying out loud. It's a somber face. He's just dealing with life. He's going, okay, come with it. Give me these charges. Let's go. I got better things to do. I gotta be on the green at 9. Okay. Real talk. Who cares? He doesn't care. He believes that he's 110% innocent. That's it. He still is in that world where he feels like he's untouchable. Come on. Why is he thinking right there in this picture right here? What is he thinking? That's what we'd like to know. Like, who cares? What I care about is what is pitted against him. Period. Okay? What is pitted against him? What do they have? Because you got to remember, the DA, Alvin Bragg, has to have something damning. Something huge, smoking gun evidence, something. This is years and years of work, by the way. This is not just him stumbling upon some stuff and then Alvin Bragg is just slapping him with this thing like, nanny, boo-boo, I got something on you. Like, no, he's just like, blam, here you go. I've been doing my research. We got the team. We've been doing our due diligence. We've been digging through your ish, baby, and we got some stuff. And apparently you did some things. He's not looking at just one charge. He's looking at 30. It's right there. He's facing 30 foul. 34 felony counts. That's a lot of counts, baby. That's more fingers than I have on my body. Okay? That's a lot. 34. Not 34. Not 34. What is he thinking? 34 felony counts. No, 34. That's a lot, y'all. That's a lot. So at this place, at this juncture, I don't care what's on his face. I mean, he's very orange. But at the same time, I don't care about what's going on with his face. Okay? Yes. Nerd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. Way more than that. 34. Okay. Period. Let me get this super chat really quick. Where did it go? Thank you so much, Alberts. What's up, Dumbledore? Thank you so much for the 440. I appreciate it. Is this campaign finance violation regarding those payments? How is New York DA charging this? They were federal election crime. They were federal election crime. Does he even have the jurisdiction to charge in other sovereigns? Looking good, Pascal. Thank you. We out here. No, I'm just kidding. But that is a very good question. Those are questions I hope that we can get throughout this stream, throughout this show, while we listen and consume the information. But, it does make you wonder, does this have any connection to campaigns? Does this have anything to do with the stuff back in the day about the votes and stuff like that? It's unfortunate because I have to be careful even talking about those things on this platform because they don't like us talking about these kind of conversations or talk about these things. But we know that he lost. Okay. He ain't president no more. Obviously he's running. He's gearing up to run for 2024. Biden is in office and all that. We all know that ish, right? But we wonder, a lot of us are wondering, does this have any connection to other things, right? To campaigns, etc. Previous campaigns and the other two campaigns and all that. It does make you wonder. It does make you wonder nonetheless. Let's listen to a little bit more of what they got to say. But if they out here going, what do you think is fastest thing? What's this fast thing? I don't got time for that. Let's continue.
What do you make of the lineup of lawyers there?
I mean, these are all very experienced attorneys, but the lead lawyer is Joe Tacopina. That's why he's filling out there the notice of appearance, it's kind of comical to see it in this case. He actually has to fill out a piece of paper that says, I represent Donald Trump, and give it to the court. So he is the lead attorney in the case. And there's going to be plenty of work for them to do because if this is going to be a trial, it's going to involve cross-examining witnesses, going through a lot of documents, which Mr. Blanche, I know, has a lot of experience with white-collar crime. I'm not sure about the other ones.
All right. And obviously, Joe Tacopina has been the more outspoken member, shall we say, of the legal team. Misty, the president has been very negative about this judge. You have a different feeling about him. But at what point, A, is it sort of not advisable to attack the judge in your case? But B, is there some motion for the judge to recuse himself or to say, hey, judge, our defendant, which he now is, although also the former president, doesn't want you as the judge anymore?
Yeah, so it's absolutely his First Amendment right to speak out against the judge. Is it advisable? Absolutely not. Defense attorney's nightmare for the client to go out there and speak negatively about the judge. This particular judge, he's very fair. I don't think he will hold that against him. As far as a recusal motion, there is a mechanism in New York State Court to say that the judge is biased and therefore cannot preside over this particular trial with this defendant. In this case, there does not appear to be any evidence that would support that. Remember, it's not just like the judge doesn't like me. The New York State rule is very, very specific and strict. There has to be something real, tangible, some sort of conflict of interest that is truly going to be problematic for a fair trial. We don't have that here. And his lawyer said as much. Joe Tacopina said as much about those statements that were made.
All right, we're still trying to get a hold of this indictment itself, which we understand will give us a lot more information on these 34 felony counts in what is called in the first degree. So, Michael, back to you. What falsifying business records in the first degree as a felony? What are the elements of that crime?
Well, there's a duty to report. There's a duty to report accurately. It has to be conduct in a course of business. But other than that, it can be very amorphous. it apply to all businesses, and we just don't know if it applies to the real estate or if it applies to falsifying documents to the election commission, or that's what we're really waiting for. And I also don't understand.
Hold on. Help me out here, though, because if it relates to either the Stormy Daniels payoff or the Karen McDougal payoff, we've been told that these are misdemeanor charges unless you can get a second included crime. And now you're off on real estate transactions. So I'm trying to figure out how that all comes together. I know it does, but my synapses aren't firing.
I don't know how you get 34 felony charges out of some checks, and I don't know.
I guess what I'm asking is this the beginning of Alvin Bragg with the potential ace up his sleeve, or what we've seen indications that potentially this is way more than just Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal?
Based on the number 34, I believe so. I
Wow.
think Mr. Bragg, like I said before, pulled a bait and switch, allowed us to discuss Stormy Daniels because that's sexy, but now we're bringing in business documents related to his real estate dealings that Mr. Pomerantz investigated and were declined to be prosecuted back a year ago or 2 years ago.
I've got two attorneys, so I'm going to get at least 5 opinions. Misty, do you agree?
Look, I think there's the possibility that this goes outside payments made to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, but I actually think that you can get 34 charges out of that, and I'll tell you why. There's a really important element to the falsification of business records. It's with the intent to defraud. That's going to be critical, and that's going to be a big part of the defense case. You're not going to see the IRS behind the table. You're not going to see some family behind the table saying who was harmed in this case. So that intent to defraud, critical to the case. What is falsification of business records? Omitting something, telling somebody not to file something, could be any host of things relating to those business records. So Leland, for example, you're paying a phony retainer, right? That's part of what this case is about. Well, every time you make a filing with respect to taxes, every time you report something to an accountant, all of those different transactions and all of those different records that relate back to the original payment could be potentially a second count, another count that leads up to us this 34. Now, is there something more to it? Well, that's certainly a possibility. In order for all of these counts to be a felony, because those are just misdemeanors, to be a Class E felony, every single count would be for the purpose of covering up another crime. What's that other crime? Well, we don't know yet, but we suspect it's election fraud. It's to cover up campaign finance violations. So that's how this all fits together. I think you can get 34. Think about it in any business sense. You know, you don't just pay the check, then you report it to your accountant. We're talking about a high net worth individual with lots of different mechanisms here. So once you go to the paper trail, you absolutely could get there, but maybe there's more to it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about May Malman. The president has sort of set the expectations game very, very, very low.
That was a good explanation.
He has made it seem as though that this is kind of frivolous because it's about payoffs to Stormy Daniels, which is hard to say and sort of take seriously as how could paying off a porn star to be quiet really be that serious of an issue? All of these resources expended over possibly Karen McDougal. Again, how can this be serious enough? How is this not a political persecution in the words of the former president? I guess what I'm asking is that if Michael is right, and there's a lot more to this, and this isn't just 34 different entries in accounting ledgers of basically the same 2 payoffs that we already know about. If there's something more here, was this expectations game played very badly? Because suddenly now this will seem like a much bigger deal when we were promised it would be absolutely nothing.
No, I think people already have their minds made up about whether this is political or frivolous or not. So even if we see some other transaction be targeted by the DA, I think it'll seem even more political to people who are inclined to see it that way, as if he's just trying to pile on, throw things at the wall, throw the kitchen sink at Donald Trump, which we know he wants to do. The New York Times had reporting over the weekend about hiring additional people on the team and just really having a full get Trump effort, and that this Stormy Daniels line seemed to be the one that might stick, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't looking at other things. as you were reporting last night, 76% of Americans see this as political. And I think that's why Donald Trump is getting a boost in the polls. People want to move to, yeah.
Yeah, no, Michael DeSharo, what is taking so long inside that courtroom?
I don't know if the judge is on the bench yet.
Well, we do. I think we do, because he's pled not guilty. He pled not guilty, at least by our count, almost 15 minutes ago.
So he has pled not guilty. Just so you guys know, I was going to say that when there was a little bit more space and time in this, but he has pled guilty. Big surprise, but he has pled not guilty. And the thing is that, listen, this is how Al Capone got caught in a way. I mean, this not by paying some adult film star money, hush money, but they caught him through his paper trail. His was a little bit different because he did not pay his income tax. Okay, he never filed federal income tax returns. Okay, that's how the IRS was able to catch his ass. They got him on paper. They got him on his paper trail. This is the same thing that's happening right here. They're catching him on his paper trail. Now, 34 counts. It's not all from, for a fact, this is not all from just Stormy Daniels. Trust me, it's more than just Stormy Daniels. There's other things that are being here. False, and of course, they're saying right now, you see in that lower third, it says Trump pleads not guilty to falsifying business records. Imagine the amount of stuff that he has said, right? The amount of things that he has paid off or has paid under the table that has never been filed, that has never been seen, right? But the things that he has filed, they caught him. Again, like I said, and I know a lot of people, there's a lot of Trump supporters out here that will sit here and say this is a witch hunt, how dare they, and all that. But let's keep it real. This DA found something. Whether either big or small, he found something. And no one is above the law. No one is. No one is above the law. And he put some things in his stuff, and somehow, through their digging, through their research, through them doing the doggone job, they found things. They found erroneous things. They found things where he's breaking the law. So, for those of y'all who are just showing up, like Tony said, they arrested him. Yes, these are actual photos of him physically in court during his arraignment right now. Okay. Ooh, Trump's indictment now unsealed. Ooh. Okay. So I'm gonna try to see if I can find those as well, because I'm sure if that indictment is now out, that is now to the public. Now the media has access to this. So let me see if we can find that too. But again, we'll see what happens here. Okay, but obviously he's pleading not guilty, and then he's gonna get in his car. He's gonna go back to his Trump Air One, or whatever the hell he calls it. Okay. And he's going to fly back to Mar-a-Lago, and then he's going to speak his mind there. I don't think he's going to say anything as he walks out, when he walks out of here. I think he's going to beeline straight to his plane, jump on that mug, and go home. Okay. And yeah, James Joseph, what's up, fam? Yeah, I do believe that the real show, the realness, pops off tonight. And I'll try to watch it with you guys. Trump Force One. Thank you, Ursula. Trump Force One. Okay. Because this is crazy. Nonetheless, this is absolutely crazy. Crazy. So I'm going to see if I can find these, what the indictment, like the paperwork, since it's now been unsealed. I'm sure it's out here soon. Rex, I'm done. Tupac, Trump, Shakur, I'm done. And the funny thing is here's the other piece. Some of y'all asked in the comments too, and I think I did mention it, but I'll just say it anyway. There was not a mugshot. And you know for a fact he was hoping for that mugshot. Let's keep it real. They even called him the greatest showman. He is all about optics. He's all about using these things for him, for the betterment of him. And also, it's an opportunity to put that on a t-shirt and make a whole lot of money. Okay? You know, Nini Panini, you never know. You never know. You never know. But on some real stuff, I don't know. Like they already raided his house. You feel me? They already raided his house. So in Mar-a-Lago, I mean, unless he's got some other things hiding, you feel me? He's gonna go over there and he's gonna put on a show and do his little dance and be like, you know, they thought they could take me, but they can't. I'm unstoppable. You know how it is. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see that for sure. If he does it, if that speech actually does happen, I think it will. Because he's got a lot of people. Man, we got some things to look at here. There is so much madness going on right now. But let me show you guys. Let me play a little bit of this while I look up some other things. Because that lady, that attorney, the female, the redhead, what she said was very on the nose, very on point. Okay. Oh, you didn't like the Trump dance? I mean, somebody liked the Trump dance. You know what I'm saying? Rage liked it. Please do the dance again. I'm just saying he's going to go out there with I don't know, YMCA. And he's just going to this. You know what I mean? And the claps are never on beat. I'm just saying, listen. Hey, I'm not just having fun here, guys. Okay. Just having fun here. But this is a huge moment in time, a huge moment in history. Let's keep that real. Huge moment in history. Never thought I'd ever see this. This is the reason why I said I wasn't going to sit there and constantly talk about it until I actually see it actually go down. Because they've been saying, oh, he's going to get arrested. Oop, he's going to get arrested. And he never got arrested. You know what I'm saying? He never was arraigned. Nothing ever happened. So I'm like, all right, when it actually happens, I will believe it and I will speak on it. But it never happened until today. Craziest thing. So let's continue. I'm going to play a little bit of this. Let me see if I can find the indictment paperwork. Maybe I can find the paperwork here because you know for a fact it's probably out here on the twits. So I'm going to play a little bit more for you guys. Let's go. Hop into this conversation.
Payne in 2015, 2016, the team was very dark in the beginning too. And there were maybe, I think, 14, 15 of us. It was a very dark, nobody leaked, nobody talked. But as it grew, of course, and the capacity for leaks grew. And then you got into the White House, and that was just, as you well know, never ending leaks and drama and backstabbing and changes of staff. And so now they're back to that lean, mean campaign. I think they're trying to replicate as it was in the beginning.
Yeah, it's certainly a much more insular circle. The audio's up, and we see the door to the courtroom, I should say, opening in closing. Chuck Marino, in terms of just sort of what we're about to see, the president walks out. We don't think there's any other stops. And then he goes downstairs to the same cars. They leave, motorcade out to LaGuardia Airport. The one thing that we're waiting for, and I still can't figure out what's taking so long, Michael Bisharo, where's the indictment? Where is this?
It's a great question. This is not something that even if they went through if they read every count, it wouldn't take this long. So I'm not sure what the delay is or what sort of process the judge is going through. They may be going through every single part of an arraignment that is legally required. I could definitely see that. Like I said before, a question like, if you want the court to appoint you with an attorney, we can. He's crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's.
Yeah, well, we heard from Misty that this judge in particular does it by the book. And he's presided over other cases involving the former president as well. Stephanie, what is the plan for tonight? Right, we saw them send out the pictures of the T-shirt that sort of has a fake mugshot on it, raising money. That from the president's campaign team. We've seen them raise money off of this. He is portraying himself as the victim, that he is being persecuted, in his words, by Democrats because he's fighting for the common man and woman. He goes back to Mar-a-Lago for a speech tonight. He'll speak after Alvin Bragg does. Is he disciplined enough to speak more about the American people than what he put out on social media today? I can't believe what's happening in America. My parenthetical to me.
The short answer is no. The people that will be surrounding him tonight are all supporters. And in that environment, he generally gets more and more comfortable to just, speak off the cuff and say what he wants. Now, I think it'll depend on what the judge says to him inside. I think that the gravity of this moment has probably hit him, especially, in seeing that picture. But depending on what the judge says, if the judge really admonishes him about what he says and not, saying too much about this case, he may be scared straight, if I may use that term, and have the discipline, at least for this evening. I don't think it would last, though. I think at some point he's going to get on his Truth Social and have to go on in all caps like he was doing last night and today.
Yeah. Michael, to you, talk about admonishing a defendant to keep his mouth shut. The whole criminal justice system in America, as well it should be for a former president and for anybody else, you've got the right to an attorney, and you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. I can't remember a time that a defendant has been told to be quiet. How could a judge do that? Because the only thing that you're defending is you getting a fair trial.
Well, you have the freedom of speech. It's just you don't have it in the courtroom. So courtroom decorum must be followed. The only person.
I'm talking about after court.
I don't think this judge would say anything like that. This is the leading Republican presidential candidate. I don't think the judge would overstep. To me, it would be overstepping his bounds, because this is clearly going to be part of the campaign. And let's not forget, 80 million people voted for this person. So this is such a different world than any of us are used to. We are going to be learning
wild times, y'all,
as we move along.
Yeah, we're sort of learning kind of in all in real time together. The last news really to come out of 34 felony counts was 25 minutes ago. That's when he pled not guilty. So far, the arraignment now is taking a whole lot longer than we ever thought it would. I'm looking here right now. We're trying to see small thing. I'm just trying to see if we've got any contentious back and forth here. We're getting a little bit of color from inside the courtroom right now, but nothing that we're able to go to air with. Real quick, Misty, and I say real quick just because we want to make sure we can get in and hear the president leave. What is the president's legal team's options that if this is taking longer, if this is now we're at 25 or 30 minutes, maybe even 40 minutes of an arraignment, what is there anything they could be arguing or anything that they could be asking the court to rule on right now?
I'm done.
They could be making motions for change of venue. They could be making those types of motions. I don't suspect that they are, and that's based on some comments by lead lawyer Joe Tacopina, that they intended to ask for a motion schedule so they could submit motion papers on all of these different legal arguments that we've addressed. There's the possibility that they're raising some of that. There could be questions, Leland, about process, just given the fact, and maybe the release of the indictment to the media. There might be questions about process because we do have a situation with a high level of interest, obviously public interest, media attention. So there could be other issues that we just couldn't really predict from these chairs about what's going on. Maybe it's exiting the courtroom safely. We don't know. That extra element of Secret Service being involved in high security, could that be something that's delaying the process? absolutely possible. But there is the possibility that certain motions are being raised. I just do not believe that that is the case in this particular on this particular day and at this particular time. I think they're going to put that for another day where they can fully brief them and lay out all those legal arguments.
It's just remarkable that in the day and age of everyone having a cell phone, everything being on Twitter, everything being televised, we have literally the eyes of the world upon a courtroom in Manhattan, and we know nothing about what is going on inside. We've gotten one piece of news in almost 30 minutes, which is that it's 34 felony counts, and beyond that, nothing. And it speaks to sort of the way the New York courts do things, the way this judge does things, because we don't have anybody inside the courtroom with an electronic device, believe it or not, to tell us what's happening inside the courtroom. So we now wait for the biggest thing being the indictment itself, which will tell us what Alvin Bragg is basing these 34 counts on. Notably and noteworthy that these are 34 felony counts. We had been told over and over by the Trump team that these were misdemeanors. So that definitely changes things. It changes the burden of proof. It changes what has to be proved, the elements of the crime, still beyond a reasonable doubt, but certainly more. More things have to be proven for felonies in this falsifying business records law in New York than have to be proven for misdemeanors. Stephanie Grisham is back with us. Stephanie, we get that the president's trying to turn this around and play it to his advantage. At what point does that dynamic flip? Maybe not with his die-hard supporters, but with the Trump agnostic folks who are still angry at Alvin Bragg over things. And the second part would be, at what point do the people who are angry at Alvin Bragg and have coalesced around Donald Trump or coalesced around being against Alvin Bragg that are Republicans, at what point could that change if, big if, what we see in this indictment is different than what we've all expected?
Right. If there's, well, depending on how the indictment is laid out, if there seems to be, irrefutable proof in there, I think that people will start to quiet down. I don't think the attacks on Bragg or just the process or weaponizing of the judicial system are going to stop. It's certainly not for Republicans. But I do think, this is the start of a steady drip of court issues that are going to be happening. Think about this. In 3 weeks, he's going to be in New York again. It's a civil case, but for rape. And then you've got the other 3 federal and criminal investigations that are going on. So there's a lot going on, and it's going to be a steady drip. And I think that this string of trouble will not help him get back the votes that he lost in 2020. So while this might be in the short term, helping him with fundraising, helping him, his base is very riled up. They're certainly very loud on social media and at rallies and at these kinds of little protests, but they're not loud at the voting booths. They're just not. And I think that, I'm not sure, I'm in the minority that he'll make it through the primary, but if he does, I think this is not bode well for the general. He's not going to get the votes back that he lost, certainly not with all of this baggage and potential corruption that's going to come to light.
Well, we talked to George Will about this a little bit. There's 2 sides to that coin, that if this is only about payoffs to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, there is a sense of fairness and irritation perhaps by some in the way that it helped Bill Clinton. That the takedown of Bill Clinton or attempted takedown of Bill Clinton over Monica Lewinsky was sort of, people didn't really like it. Even if they didn't like Bill Clinton, they didn't like that less. And there are certainly people who may not like Donald Trump, but don't really feel as though this is what in America you go after people on. All right, we're going to bring back Michael DeSharo and Misty when we understand at least what is in this indictment. As I think, Michael, we're we're well past how long any of us thought this would take.
I'm looking for it and I ain't seen nothing.
Yes, now this has become a mystery. I think Misty may be right. They may be getting into it. They may be getting into some issues with the judge. So at this point, I would have been out of with a regular defendant, I would have been out of there 30 minutes ago. But things may be happening and there are issues may be brought up that require the court's attention.
Yeah, Misty, how much Michael Cohen, who's at the center of all of this, who has flipped on Donald Trump and obviously has made it no secret how he feels about Donald Trump and what he thinks should happen to Donald Trump and on and on and on. How much does the fact that he is at the center of this case, at least what we believe to know about this case, at some point, could we, and I'm just tossing this out here because we don't know, so we ask questions, is this the kind of thing that the judge could throw some of these counts out and just say there's not enough evidence here at the very beginning of this?
It's possible, but I wouldn't imagine that would happen today. It could certainly happen on motion papers, but credibility is always a question for a jury. Michael Cohen, probably the definition of a non-credible witness. What you learn in law school is what makes a witness credible and non-credible. He has every facet of being a non-credible witness. However, that's usually a jury issue. The type of decisions that happen pre-trial relate to whether or not there is enough evidence to move forward under the charges and under the elements of those charges. So there might be decisions on the law that do not relate to credibility. They would relate to the legal theory. They would relate to statute of limitations. They would relate to preemption issues, but they wouldn't get into credibility pre-trial. However, when you get to trial, if Michael Cohen is your star witness and you don't have anything else, I would say you're in trouble as a prosecutor.
Yeah, and we've been led to believe that Alvin Bragg brought in other people and has tried to shore this up. Michael Cohen has issued statements basically saying, look, you don't have to believe me. I've got all the documents to prove it. I keep going back to that picture of outside the courtroom, that the entire world is watching a hallway in New York City with a number of police officers, state court officers, quite literally milling around. And you can see at least one or two Secret Service agents guarding the door, where the former president of the United States just pled not guilty to 34 felony counts.
Now, I want to show you guys the 34th. Well, I don't have all the felony counts right now. Personally, I do not. I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to keep looking at this, but there's some information here that I think that we all deserve to see so that we can kind of get a better understanding of what the heck is going on here. Okay. I'm looking for the indictments because they said that those have been released to the public now, but I haven't seen anything yet. I'm sure it'll be out here very, very soon, but I do want to share with you guys a couple things. Okay. A couple things like this. Trump indictment charges him with 34 crimes over hush money payments to 2 women. And the question is, who's the second one? We know about Stormy. We all are thinking, at least what the media is saying right now, they're all speculating the second woman is to be Karen McDougal, which she is a Playboy centerfold model that apparently he had affairs with as well and was paid off with hush money as well. But there's more to this, okay? So here's some key points. The indictment, let me show this to you guys real quick. Just so we can get a better understanding. So some key points. The indictment against former President Trump charges him with 34 criminal counts of falsifying business records and conspiracy in connection with hush money payments to 2 women before the 2016 presidential election. So hush money, he went up there and he's like, yo, here the money. Well, I'm about to run. Okay. And I need y'all to shut the hell up. I need y'all not to say not one doggone thing. Here's some monies. Okay. The indictment says, I'm the translator today for street. Okay. Shut the hell up. Here's some bags. Okay. The indictment says those payments aim to suppress claims by those women of having relations with Trump in order to avoid those accounts harming his chances of winning the election over Hillary Clinton. A Manhattan Supreme Court grand jury indicted Trump on Thursday after hearing testimony for several months about hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels. So this has been we all know this has been going on for a minute. We all know, this has been going on for a minute. So they listened to testimony for several months about this. And they decided, yes, we need to charge this mother lover. Okay? Several months. So it wasn't like they just woke up one day and said, yeah, let's just get Trump arrested today. This is something that they've been doing for a while. Trump separately is under criminal investigation by the DOJ and a state prosecutor in Georgia for efforts to reverse his, and I can't even say that, unfortunately, on YouTube. I can't even say that phrase, but you see it right there. That was a big deal. Remember J6? Remember the thing that happened in the January? You know what I mean? That was absolutely insane as well. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of that madness outside in New York City as we speak as well. It's absolutely nothing futs, y'all. But here's a little bit more. Let me check this really quick. No movement's gone on so far. It's just them waxing political and their thoughts and theories over all of this BS. Okay. And the other question is, why is it taking so long for them to actually show up and let him walk down this hallway so he can jump into his plane and fly back to Mar-a-Lago and speak to his followers and his listeners and his fans? I don't know. Maybe the judge is reading each and every single one of these charges very slowly, or maybe Trump's lawyers are pushing back, which is exactly what they should be doing. That's what they get paid the big monies for. You know, for a fact, they're not going to sit there and just stay quiet. If there's any objection to these things, whatever's being said in there, I can see why this is taking some time. I can see why this is taking some time. Okay, but let's continue. And yeah, guys, I'm just reporting the story. I'm just throwing in my little comedic flair here and there. You know what I'm saying? I haven't said my thoughts about any of this yet. Not at all. I'm shocked. That's all I've said so far. So before you jump down my throat, just hear me out. I'm giving you guys the information. Haven't even given my opinions yet. Okay? But let's continue here. I'm just giving you guys the facts, what the media is giving us. So, former President Trump is charged in a New York grand jury indictment unsealed Tuesday with 34 counts of falsifying business records and conspiracy in connection with hush money payments to two women before 2016. Okay, before his big run. Okay? The indictment says those payments aimed to suppress claims by those women of having relations with Trump in order to avoid those accounts harming his chances of winning the election against Hillary Clinton. And we already know he done won that. All right. So the hush money did work out. And honestly, I'm going to say this too. Whatever was said, whatever they agreed on to make Stormy Daniels and maybe Karen McDougal to just be quiet. Let me just say this, okay? I don't think it would have affected his election in 2016 if they came out and they're like, yes, we had sex. I don't think that would have changed anything. I feel like supporters and people who were voting for him would have been like, so no man is perfect. I'm still voting for him. I feel like nothing would have changed in 2016. Not at all. I'll be real. Not at all. It would have made him look even more. It would immortalize him even more. Oh, wow. He's powerful and he still gets laid. You know what I'm saying? He's still knocking the boots with all these adult film stars and Playboy models. Let's keep it real. It wouldn't have changed the doggone thing. He still would have won, baby. We've been known that. Okay. When he first won, not shocked. Not shocked at all. Okay, so continuing. Of course, he's told the judge not guilty. And apparently there are T-shirts coming out. Okay? T-shirts that are coming out saying not guilty. You know, they're trying to, let's keep it real. The grift is real here, y'all. And they're going to use it to the best of their advantage for money for his campaign. It's smart. Okay? I just people, you know, I recognize game. That's all I got to say. All right. Let's continue. There are 2 women previously known to have received hush money payments in 2016 to buy their silence about Trump. And that's the thing. It's like, what would they say? Like, what? He got a small wee-wee? Who cares? Somebody would be out here saying, it's not about the size of the boat. It's the motion in the ocean, baby. Still voting for his ass. Like, that's exactly what would have happened. Come on, man. Come on. But we already know one is Stormy Daniels, who received $130,000 from Trump's then lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, at Trump's direction. The other one is Playboy model Karen McDougal, who received $150,000 from the publisher of the National Enquirer. And of course, we already know it's that supermarket tabloid that was allied with Trump. Okay, so that's some of the information. Obviously, these are photos of him chilling. I'm telling you, in my personal opinion, I think he's having a grand old time. He's saying, yes, I am the king of spin. And he's going to spin this, and it's spinning, and it's working, baby. They spinning. These hubcaps are spinning, baby. They spinning. He's doing this, and he's going to win at the end. I'm sorry, he's going to win. He's going to win because he's good at this. Let's keep it real. He's good at this. This is what he does all day. He eats, spin for dinner, lunch, and breakfast. He don't care. Come on, man. The grand jury indicted Trump on Thursday. The charging document had remained sealed since then. The grand jury began hearing testimony in the case in late January, several months. Okay? News of those proceedings came as a surprise, since a former prosecutor in the district attorney's office last year had suggested the investigation into Trump was all but dead after Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg declined to seek an indictment against Trump in connection with allegedly false financial statements involving real estate assets. Trump separately is under criminal investigation by the DOJ and a state prosecutor in Georgia for efforts to reverse. Then saying, can't even see this stuff, but I'm going to highlight it. Okay. Because of the thing that happened in 2020. The DOJ also is probing Trump for retaining government records after leaving the White House and for possible obstruction of justice. So there's a whole lot of information. Oh, that he has left. Here we go.
A little bit of sort of, I think you have to almost make the point that typically when it is the president of the United States, the news helicopters are not allowed above the motorcade. And now that it is a former president, we sort of see in minute detail the motorcade moving and all of the Secret Service's movements along the way, which there's an irony to that. I don't know what it is, though.
Don't worry, we'll figure it out for you.
Yeah, definitely an irony. I mean, we would prefer that.
I'm going to pull this back because I know for a fact we're going to want to see him waltzing out, you know, doing his little waltzing Matilda act, you know, doing his perp walk, if you want to call it that, if you even want to call it that. All right. But nonetheless, hold on, let me see if I can.
So now we'll switch at times to our outside view as we await the president's motorcade. We understand he is headed right to LaGuardia Airport and flies to Florida, where he will speak tonight. The next live event, Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, will speak to the media about this 34 felony count indictment. And back to...
I just rolled it back a little bit, guys. I know he just left like 10 minutes ago. Elvis has left the building, but we're going to be watching it together live as he is hopefully walking out as well. Okay? Oh. Wait a second.
Like they took their time. They may have read each count in open court. Usually what's called waiving the reading. which is what you do because you don't want to sit there and listen to boring counts. You can read them for
Oh,
yourself.
hold on. And I'm just going to stop you, Michael.
There he is.
The former president's walking out of the courthouse. That didn't take long. One elevator ride down. Jason Miller, you can see getting in one of the Secret Service Suburbans. And the former president will walk into the Suburban. It looks like they've got him turned around now and ready to depart for LaGuardia Airport. Bring back in Chuck Mariano, former supervisory special agent with the Secret Service, who's done an awful lot of presidential protection and former presidential protection. Boy, in terms of the scare and the fear and this is going to be another January 6th and there's going to be riots in the streets of Manhattan and everything else, this has been about as tame of a morning and early afternoon in Manhattan as you can possibly believe.
Exactly right. This is the way we like all the protective visits to go. And that, kudos to NYPD and the Secret Service and others for the planning that they did here. I mean, definitely unprecedented times. But as you've said over and over, Leland, at the end of the day, these agencies are doing this every day. Yes, we're getting a lot more attention to this. Yes, there's a lot more resources involved, especially when we're talking about a former president. But it went off without a hitch. They were able to do it. Now, the long-term question is, how does all this get paid for by the taxpayers of New York should this go to a lengthy trial?
Yeah, you make a great point. And you said this earlier, that all of this security, the shutting downs of the streets, the calling up of all 36,000 NYPD officers, on and on and on, is not reimbursed. So at some point, the taxpayers of New York, if there is a trial, are going to have to decide how long they are willing to pay and how many days they are willing to pay for this giant production. And I will use that word liberally.
It's very interesting, but there you go. Here you have it. Trump going off, driving, getting driven down the streets of New York after being arraigned and all that.
Heads to LaGuardia. All right, Robert. This took a lot longer. What was happening outside the courtroom, and we still don't have the indictment.
And we're still waiting on our producer to get clear of the courtroom and be able to give us the exact details that took place inside court. We'll tell you this, you look around here, you are starting to see some people clear out a little bit. The tone here has really dropped down. It's a lot more calm out in front of this courthouse right now. We know that the former president is expected to be on his way shortly, heading off to LaGuardia Airport. So it's all just about wrapped up here in terms of what was happening in court. Of course, we will be hearing from the district attorney's office shortly, but still waiting on a few more of those specific details as to what exactly happened in court and what those charges specifically look like. But still 34 felony counts falsifying business records, Leland.
Yeah, Chuck Marino with us as we follow the president's motorcade. I'm in a little bit of sort of, I think you have to almost make the point that typically when it is the president of the United States, the news helicopters are not allowed above the motorcade. And now that it is a former president, we sort of see in minute detail the motorcade moving and all of the Secret Service's movements along the way, which there's an irony to that. I don't know what it is, though.
Interesting stuff, though, nonetheless. Very interesting. Trump's attorney speaking now. Let me see. Where? It looks like they're about to do the talk. They're about to. Let me see if I can find a better one. Let me see here real quick. Come on, baby. And guys, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. That would really mean a lot. Let's see if I can find another spot where they're doing that. Let's see. Okay.
Exactly what would happen if it happened to anybody that I'm looking at now or anybody that's hearing what you're saying. He's frustrated. He's upset. But I'll tell you what, he's motivated.
It's not great.
And it's not going to stop him. And it's not going to slow him down. And it's exactly what he expected. And so to that extent, there's no surprise. But he's also upset and frustrated and disappointed and mad that this happened.
What about the warnings against his increased rhetoric on Twitter?
What? There was not a warning. What do you mean?
From the judge, talking about
The judge
the
did
threats
not
that
warn.
are happening.
The district attorney made a statement addressing what they perceive to be, I'm not sure what the words they use, inappropriate rhetoric of some sort. Obviously, we responded,
There we go.
and the judge just took it in. The judge didn't warn. He asked the parties to consider what they're saying and not saying.
Guys, he did not admonish the president.
There was no admonishment.
That the president not use language that would incite violence or civil unrest.
He did not request that the president not use language. He requested that everybody involved refrain from using language that's inappropriate. And by the way, that includes the witnesses for the people who are talking just as much as the
The
president.
former president swinging a baseball bat at the head of the Manhattan DA.
Well, I don't know where you got that, because if
That
you
was a tweet
that
sent
was,
out by the former president.
no, it wasn't. And first of all, that picture was not swinging a baseball bat. I mean, if you want to distort the facts, go right ahead. I won't address that. Yes, it is. He wasn't swinging a baseball bat at anyone's head. That was a picture of him showing off an American-made bat. Someone else put a picture of the district attorney next to him, and in an article posted that. That's not his article. That's not his photos.
Not using language that incites.
Guys, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the insufficiency of this case. And I will say this to you. Today's unsealing of this indictment shows that the rule of law died in this country. Because while everyone is not above the law, no one's below it either. And if this man's name was not Donald J. Trump, there is no scenario we'd all be here today. Please understand that based on these charges.
What are we going to get tonight when he sees?
When? Paid good.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
What are we going to hear?
Well, I don't know. You'll hear it.
You should tune in and you'll hear
We know.
You should run the trial.
Can you?
Damn.
Didn't you think that
He
was
mad.
realistic?
No. Can you guys
Big
talk
man.
about? There's a lot of
I don't get
speculation about the unity among the defense attorneys.
Look at this.
There's
Look
a
at
lot
us.
Is that why you chose
Look.
to do this?
To come out together. We chose
that's
to come out together so we could speak with one voice. But there is no disunity here. That's gossip and it's nonsense.
And-
We've been working together and we will be working together.
And this, to me, quite frankly, is the best team I've ever worked with, the lawyers. I'm honored to be working with these guys. It's a family, it's a team, and we have one mission, and we'll achieve that mission.
What's your next move?
I mean, I'm going to go home and have some food.
What about the change of venue stuff? When do we?
I mean, we're going to start fighting the case.
When do you start filing motions? I'm assuming one of the first things you're going to
The
do.
judge set a motion schedule.
To dismiss. I assume that'll be
the judge set a motion schedule that requires motion files in 4 months. So that's when we'll be filing motions.
This whole notion about how this is sort of like a novel, or do you?
It's not a notion. It's actually a fact. It's never been charged
talk
before.
about that. But like,
There's nothing else to say except the
What's
district
up with
attorney.
the dead leg behind them, yo?
This office has existed for decades and decades, and you can find one if you'd like. You'll never see a charge like this ever.
You understand
this case?
You understand this? It's as simple as this.
What's
a
up
state
with the leg?
prosecutor is prosecuting a federal election law violation that doesn't exist according to federal election law officials. It's as simple as that. That you could sum it all up like that.
Will there be anything else in your motion to dismiss?
That we haven't even come
what about the
close to
change of
something.
venue? There's all this talk. Can someone address that now?
Could potentially post discovery on social media.
Impromptu news conference outside the courthouse with the
Question, what's
attorneys
up with the
for
leg,
former
yo?
President Donald Trump,
What's
who
up with
right
the leg?
now is nearing LaGuardia Airport for his return to Florida after what was described as about a 45-minute long arraignment hearing in which a number of issues were discussed, including some of the tone of language
What a circus,
that had
y'all.
concerned the DA's office from the former president. But his attorneys strongly defending the former president and challenging the DA to come up with facts which they think are not in evidence right now. Laura Jarrett has been working this set of documents we've received here, the actual indictment, and
Yes.
help us understand what it says and what it doesn't say.
Okay, so what we have here is an indictment that's laying forth the exact counts. Those are statutory cites that relate to the criminal code in New York. That's what we have, the 34 counts falsifying business records. In addition, we have a lengthy statement of facts, some 44 paragraphs in length. So we talk about a speaking indictment. This is singing it from the rooftops, telling the story of what happened. And we're still going through it. But part of what's interesting is it's laying out a narrative in the language of conspiracy, but they haven't actually charged conspiracy as a separate count, which is interesting. And I wondered how they were going to do it, because we all knew that they were going to need some hook to escalate this to a felony. And their hook is laid out in this narrative description, but it's not actually charged as a separate crime, which will be interesting. And I'm sure the former president's lawyers will attack that and figure out a way to say that that's not a proper way to do things. But it is interesting to know how explicit they are about the former president's role in what they are saying is essentially a scheme to defraud the American public.
That he was an active participant?
That he was an active participant, that he had meetings about this, and that he did this for the sole purpose was to make sure that negative information did not come out before the 2016 election. That is certainly what Michael Cohen pled guilty to. It's certainly what the publisher of the National Enquirer pled guilty to as part of his non-prosecution agreement. So we have heard this story told before by federal prosecutors in those agreements. We have never heard this story told before quite as explicitly as we are hearing it today from the mouths of the state district attorney in Manhattan.
There are no names listed here in this statement of facts, because you're right, Laura, this is separate technically from the indictment itself, but it clearly lays out all of what we've been talking about, the sort of color narrative, if you will, of what happened.
Yeah.
But based on some of the identifying pieces of information that are in here, like the amounts of the hush money payments, it seems at this point that this is about Karen McDougal, who we talked about, and Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels, of course, an adult film star who just today is out with a new, essentially, magazine feature talking about how she hopes to feel at some point vindicated, as well as Karen McDougal, this former Playboy model, who also says that she received a hush money payment that came through, as Laura explained earlier in our special coverage here, that came through a publication, kind of a catch and kill scheme, which, again, here in the statement of facts, the prosecutor's office is laying out.
Yeah, and laying it out, I just want to read a little bit of it because the language is just so striking here, talking about from August of 2015 to December of 2017, the defendant, the former president, orchestrated a scheme with others to influence the 2016 presidential election by identifying and purchasing negative information about him to suppress its publication and benefit the defendant's electoral prospects. It goes on to say, in order to execute the unlawful scheme, the participants violated election laws. Now, they don't say they're federal laws, state laws, and caused false entries in the business records of various entities in New York. The participants also took steps that mischaracterized for tax purposes. They're not charging tax crimes, but they're saying took steps that mischaracterized for tax purposes the true nature of the payments made in furtherance of the scheme. And so they've used this statement of facts, again, to sort of tell the story, but they're not charging those things as separate crimes.
Are they telegraphing, though, that may come into play at some point?
Well, that's one of the things I hope somebody asked the district attorney today at that press conference.
Yeah, the statute doesn't appear to require someone to plead and actually prove the crime that is used to launch this case into felony land. So at this point, they don't necessarily need to charge it. What they appear to be doing here is just alleging it, whether it be an election law violation, whether it be a tax crime of some kind. It seems pretty straightforward that we're just talking about falsification of business records that is made into a felony. And I don't think that's an accident that the DA's office is being a little vague here, because they don't necessarily want to commit to anything. You don't want to do that in an indictment, commit to something that you can't prove or aren't planning to prove. But make no mistake about it. I'm putting my defense hat on for the moment. You're going to see motions, number one, that New York has no jurisdiction to enforce anything related to election law, unless it is somehow New York state election law. You're also going to see a motion that because the payments were made by Michael Cohen, and allegedly made by Michael Cohen, to benefit Trump personally and his family, that takes it out of the purview of election law. In other words, because it wasn't to benefit the campaign, it was to benefit his family. Therefore, this is not a viable charge. Now, other defenses that won't be the subject of a motion to dismiss, but we'll see them at trial, will be the advice of counsel defense. Hey, I just did what my lawyer told me to. Now, anyone who knows Donald Trump knows that that's probably not likely. Donald Trump doesn't take the instructions of his lawyers any more than he takes them from anyone else. Heads of state, anybody. And if he doesn't like what his lawyer's saying, he fires them and he gets a new lawyer. We know that. But you can bet that you will see an advice of counsel defense at trial, and that that'll be one of many that they will try to assert if this case ever gets to trial. But believe me, they're going to have, and you saw it at the press conference, the defense team is going to be filing motions, and I suspect a lot of them. They are going to try and chip away at this case. Best case scenario for them, if they can throw out the felony and leave Alvin Bragg only charging the president with misdemeanors. Now, this is a little beyond my pay grade because it's political. This would be a huge win for Donald Trump if the first prosecution by Alvin Bragg proceeds only as misdemeanors in New York City. That would not be a win, even if you convicted him on those misdemeanors. It would be a symbolic loss.
Characterize it for me. Is this any weightier, any more serious for the former president
I'll check it
right
out
now than it was, a couple hours ago?
So far, I have seen 0.0 surprises. There's nothing new in either the statement of facts or the indictment. I am surprised slightly that this is exclusively about hush money payments. I did expect to see more, but I also expected, and you see this on page 1 of the indictment, what you see is that they took one event, say February 14, 2017, and you see the first 4 counts of the indictment are all related to February 14, 2017. So they're taking really one transaction and extracting 4 different crimes from that transaction. That, as I'm sitting here thinking of.
That's very interesting. Hey, really quick, BB, where did you send this link? Please comment in the comment section. Okay.
Concepts like multiplicity in criminal law, that if the government tries to charge to heap on too many crimes that are really just one transaction, then you might be able to get the indictment dismissed. Long shot. These are all long shots. Judges hate to take cases away from prosecutors. They like to give them their day in court. But by filing those motions, what they do is they preserve it for appeal, so that if things go badly at trial, these are all preserved issues for appeal. They're issues of law that an appellate court with quiet reflection may take in a different direction. So that's the strategy as I see it. I have no doubt we'll see those motions in the coming months, weeks and months, however much time they have to file.
All right, let me bring in Chuck Rosenberg. Chuck, your reading
I appreciate it.
Of this case?
Yeah, and Lester, if Catherine is still here, I would love to ask her a question. But if not, I can certainly give you. Well, Catherine, if you don't mind, in my federal practice, we would typically propose a speaking indictment. There's a separate document here, a statement of facts, and it has an indictment number on it, which I assume correlates to the 34 count indictment. How does the district attorney's office use that statement of facts, and what is its legal weight in the proceedings?
I tell you, Chuck, I'm at a loss. When I looked at this indictment and saw that every single count, because I heard a reporter earlier talking about conspiracy, and I'm like, oh, there's a conspiracy count. There is no conspiracy count.
Yeah.
So there are 34 counts of the same charge, falsifying business records. And the statement of facts talks about the Playboy model, Karen McDougal, and Stormy Daniels. So it appears that this indictment is solely about the hush money payment to Miss Daniels, the catch and kill regarding Miss McDougal. The statement of facts, quite frankly, I haven't seen this. It's usually, if you're charging conspiracy, you list out all the overt acts. That's sort of how you get all the information in there. Well, there is no conspiracy count. So I agree with Danny. There's going to be very substantive motions. And then, Danny, you said that if they can reduce these felonies to a misdemeanor, remember, even on the misdemeanor charge, you still have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Trump put this false entry in his business records with the intent to defraud. So even that is not so clear. That's the argument they're going to make. So I was actually saying, now there's going to be conspiracy and they're probably going to talk about tax crimes. So I'm not going to say it's shocking, but I'm surprised that the 34 counts are all falsifying business records and they all involve Ms. Daniels.
Speaking for the lay people in the room, are you saying this is a weak case?
I've always said it was a tough case because you have to prove intent to defraud. And for the felony, you have to prove, in addition to intent to defraud, the intent to commit another crime. And if that other crime was the campaign finance law, well, it's a novel theory, which makes it a tough case. It's also a tough case because the main witness is Michael Cohen. Now, I use cooperators all the time. You cannot do an organized crime case without a cooperator. And what you do is you corroborate every word, every accusation that he makes. And you can even argue that Michael Cohen is sort of Trump's mini-me. That's why they got along. That's why he worked for him so long. But it's a tough case because, like I said, if it's really solely about this hush payment to this porn star and it's based on campaign finance law, it's going to be tough. It doesn't mean they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, but it'll be a tough case.
And Catherine, do they have the opportunity to revise this indictment, or are they stuck with what they have?
Well, in order to represent an indictment you have to get permission of the court. So maybe there's another case they're investigating. I have no idea, but this is the indictment. This is, what they, spent the months on and decided to vote on. And I'll be interested to hear District Attorney Bragg's press conference. And I'm sure, all the reporters will ask him the same questions that we're all sort of baffled about.
Yeah, and Alvin Bragg is supposed to be, speaking here shortly. We're waiting for his press conference. We're going to be taking a look at and watching that as well. That's a very good question. I'm forgetting the anchor's name now. Why am I forgetting his name? Lester. That's a very good question. Lester Holt asked. Is this a nothing burger, or is this really hard hitting charges? Are these charges, can these charges actually stick, or are we just watching a whole lot of hot air? Are we just watching something that's just a big waste of our time? That's one thing I'm wondering too, because it seems as if these charges that they're looking at could be whittled down to just misdemeanor counts as well. So it's very interesting. But, you heard that other woman, I don't know who that was, speaking on behalf of, he had the intent to defraud. He was trying to illegally hide money. And that's not good. Now, what the weight of those charges are, I don't know. Now, Judah Israel just asked on Facebook, Pascal, you think 45 is a flight risk? Nah. I don't think he's going to do that. He's known everywhere. It's impossible for him to fly off anywhere and not be caught. And I know that there are certain countries that, that do not have extradition laws and all that. So sure, he could fly to certain countries, but at the same time, he ain't never going to be able to come back, and he ain't never going to be able to run for president. I know that for a fact, right? So that would be bad. So I don't think he ever would. I think him winning the presidency again, him going for 2024, his campaign, etc., that's his baby. That's his obsession right now. That is his goal, and that's all he's trying to accomplish. So he's going to go through all the paint by numbers BS that he's going through right now, because he knows, not only because he has to, but also optically, this helps in his favor right now, which we're going to look at here shortly. Okay. But speaking of the indictment, thank you to BB. I do have the paperwork of the indictment as well. So I'm going to show that to you guys really, really quick. We're not going to go through the whole shebang, but right now, and I may go through all of the paperwork tonight before his speech, okay? Because of course I don't want to miss when Alvin Bragg speaks and all that stuff as well. But I wanted to show you guys that the indictment is out, and thanks to BB for the help. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Okay, Wait, noops. I can't zoom in on this mug. Oh, I can. Did that not work? Hold on, guys. Sorry. There we go. So this is the indictment. Paperwork right here. Okay. But one other thing that they said, which is very interesting. Remember, I talked about the conspiracy. Okay. Let me show that to you again, too. Okay. There it is. The first part, right? Business records and conspiracy in connection with hush money payments to two women before the 2016 presidential election. Okay. So they apparently in the paperwork, because I haven't gotten a chance to read through it. Apparently in the paperwork, that isn't mentioned, this conspiracy in connection with hush money. The conspiracy is not there. Falsifying business records and paying off these two women, that is there. But as far as conspiracy in the connection to the 2016, not at all, allegedly. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of this. Okay, grand jury to the county of New York, but by this indictment accuses Trump Corporation, Trump Organization, Trump Payroll Corp, the Trump Organization, and Alan Weaselberg. That's very interesting. Trump, and then Alan of crime of scheme to defraud in the first degree in violation penal law, blah, committed as follows. The defendants in the county of New York and elsewhere during the period from on or about March 31st, 2005 to or on about June 30th of 2021, as set forth below, engaged in a scheme constituting a systematic, ongoing course of conduct with the intent to defraud more than one person and to obtain property from more than one person by false or fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises, and so obtain property with a value in excess of $1,000 from one or more persons, to wit, the United States Internal Revenue Service, the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance, and the New York City Department of Finance. And this is just that piece. This is just the first two paragraphs of this mother lover, basically saying there was a scheme to defraud in the first degree. So it's very good. It's going to be very interesting to see what else they have in here. And, as the reporters said, it's almost they're singing from the rafters through the 20 some odd pages that are in this indictment, basically accusing Trump of doing these fraudulent things. So we will most likely look at this when we get into it for sure. Okay. But of course, we're still waiting to hear what Alvin Bragg has to say. And, everyone's going, Trump's about to load onto the plane. Trump Force One's about to take off. We're going to watch him as he takes off in his plane. It's crazy. Okay. But yes, failure to report income. I mean, it's all paperwork. It's all paper trail stuff. It's all about that monies. Okay. That's very weird. That was weird. Now, the reason why I have this one up is because they had Alvin Bragg's the press briefing for Alvin Bragg set up and ready to go. So I thought that they were going to go into that, but they didn't go into that. I guess he hasn't come out to speak as of yet, but he will eventually. Okay. Now, I don't know what time apparently he's supposed to be on live around 7:30. So I think I'll be on around 7. He's supposed to be on live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I think I'm going to be on at around 8 Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to talk about all of this. And as you can see in the top right-hand box there, that's where Alvin Bragg's supposed to be making his statement and all that. And then down below, underneath the Alvin Bragg press conference, yeah, they're about to go into it. Underneath is the Trump Force One about to take off and fly. So yeah, we're still waiting. And I mean, they had New York, they had brass out there like crazy. They had everybody out there because they were expecting some madness. They were definitely expecting madness. Speaking of which, we need to take a look at some of this madness. We're waiting for Alvin Bragg to come out because I want to hear what he has to say. He ain't out yet. He hasn't come out yet, but there is some other stuff. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene. She came out and she had some things to say. Okay? She had some things to say. She went and she was there, boots on the ground in Manhattan, trying to rally the troops, rally the Trump supporters and all that. And, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty interesting. Okay. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Yeah. So's a Bob. But, I'm sure, Judah, I'm sure Twitter's absolutely nuts right now. Okay. I'm sure it's going crazy. I'm sure it's ablaze. It's on fire right now. But she made an announcement that she was going to go out there and she was going to speak amongst the Trump supporters. And let's be real. This woman uses every opportunity she can for a public. It's an opportunity for clout. Okay, every opportunity she got, and let me be real. When it comes to this game, because for a fact the political game is a game. It is a game of checkers, but most of the time it's a game of chess. She is not a dumb woman. I will call her everything else because I don't like who she is and all that stuff. I don't. But she's clever. She's smart. I will give her that. And that's a lot coming from me. Okay? Because she realizes what works, how she could play the game, so on and so forth. So she went out there to make some announcements and try to get people, whatever, This girl needs to quiet down. It's just my personal opinion, because this woman, have mercy. Let's just get into it, okay? So Marjorie Taylor Greene was out there, and in fact, actually, I need to find, before we go into that, I need to find the actual footage of MTG out here just getting moved out quickly. All right. So one thing I will say, okay, and this was earlier this morning, and of course she's checking this out and seeing this as an opportunity. Okay. All right. So, hold on, Tyler. Yeah, trust me. I ain't trying to be nice. I'm not. But she knows how to finesse and use these opportunities for her financial or for her political gain, you know? And yeah, Marjorie Foster. Yeah, maybe too much credit. Maybe just too much credit. I'll give you that. Okay. Okay. But she knows how to finesse. I will say that. So, one thing, okay, this is from a tweet from somebody else earlier this morning. Marjorie Taylor Greene is now claiming to counter protesters at the Trump Indictment Day celebration, because a lot of people in New York, some people were seeing it as a celebration, some people weren't. Okay, in New York City, are planning to attack her because they are organizing an effort to bring pots and pans and whistles to make sound with. She claims they are going to attack her. Okay, so this is what they posted on here. Okay, to basically say, like, we need to counteract, we need to go against her. So if she goes out here, we need to make noise, right? And of course he's speaking. No, he's not. Oh, there he is. I'll get
Earlier
to her
this
in a
afternoon,
second.
Donald Trump was arraigned on a New York Supreme Court indictment returned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime. That is exactly what this case is about. 34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who you are. We cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct. The defendant repeatedly made false statements on New York business records. He also caused others to make false statements. The defendant claimed that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. This simply was not true. And it was a false statement that the defendant made month after month in 2017. April, May, June, and so on through the rest of the year. For 9 straight months, the defendant held documents in his hand containing this key lie, that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. And he personally signed checks for payments to Michael Cohen for each of these 9 months. In total, the grand jury found there were 34 documents with this critical false statement. Why did Donald Trump repeatedly make these false statements? The evidence will show that he did so to cover up crimes relating to the 2016 election. Donald Trump, executives at the publishing company American Media Incorporated, Mr. Cohen, and others agreed in 2015 to a catch and kill scheme. That is, a scheme to buy and suppress negative information to help Mr. Trump's chance of winning the election. As part of this scheme, Donald Trump and others made 3 payments to people who claimed to have negative information about Mr. Trump. To make these payments, they set up shell companies, and they made yet more false statements, including, for example, in AMI, American Media Incorporated's business records. One of the 3 people that they paid to keep quiet was a woman named Stormy Daniels. Less than 2 weeks before the presidential election, Michael Cohen wired $130,000 to Stormy Daniels' lawyer. That payment was to hide damaging information from the voting public. The participant scheme was illegal. The scheme violated New York election law, which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means. The $130,000 wire payment exceeded the federal campaign contribution cap, and the false statements in AMI's books violated New York law. That is why Mr. Trump made false statements about his payments to Mr. Cohen. He could not simply say that the payments were a reimbursement for Mr. Cohen's payments to Stormy Daniels. To do so, to make that true statement, would have been to admit a crime. So instead, Mr. Trump said that he was paying Mr. Cohen for fictitious legal services in 2017 to cover up actual crime committed the prior year. And in order to get Michael Cohen his money back, they planned one last false statement. In order to complete the scheme, they planned to mischaracterize the repayments to Mr. Cohen as income to the New York State tax authorities. The conduct I just described and that which was charged by the grand jury is felony criminal conduct in New York State. True and accurate business records are important everywhere, to be sure. They are all the more important in Manhattan, the financial center of the world. That is why we have a history in the Manhattan DA's office of vigorously enforcing white-collar crime. My office, including the talented prosecutors you saw at arraignment earlier today, has charged hundreds of felony falsifying business records. This charge, it can be said, is the bread and butter of our white-collar work. And fraud presents itself in all different forms here in Manhattan. We have charged falsifying business records for those who violated federal bank secrecy laws. We have charged falsifying business records for those who were seeking to cover up sex crimes. And we have brought this charge for those who committed tax violations. At its core, this case today is one with allegations like so many of our white-collar cases. Allegations that someone lied again and again to protect their interests and evade the laws to which we are all held accountable. As this office has done time and time again, we today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. No amount of money and no amount of power changes that enduring American principle. I'll now take questions.
So we're going to take a limited number of questions. There are no follow-up questions. One question per reporter. I will call on you. And again, we have limited time. Thank you. The first question will be Rick.
Wild times, y'all.
Why now? Some argue that this is a political move. You're not going to be a political person. If Rick is going to go into
What are they doing with this
a
town?
thorough and rigorous investigation, as we're known to do at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. I've been doing this for 24 years and am no stranger to rigorous, complex investigations. I bring cases when they're ready. Having now conducted a rigorous, thorough investigation, the case was ready to be brought, and it was brought.
Mr. Bragg, the indictment says that there were 34 false business records. And they would then conceal another crime, but the indictment does not specifically say what those crimes were. We are assuming perhaps that they might be election related. I'm wondering if you can specify what laws were also broken.
Right. So let me say as an initial matter, the indictment doesn't specify that because the law does not so require. In my remarks, I mentioned a couple of laws, which I will highlight again now. The first is New York State election law, which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means. I further indicated a number of unlawful means, including more additional false statements, including statements that were planned to be made to tax authorities. I also noted the federal election law cap on contribution limits.
But why weren't there those crimes charged? Why weren't they charged with those crimes?
Well, I'm not going to go into our deliberative process on what was brought. The charges that were brought were the ones that were brought. The evidence in the law is the basis for those decisions.
You had expressed a year ago that you had some reservations about the case's readiness. Can you talk to us about what were some of the questions in your mind that needed to be answered in order to bring a case, this magnitude?
I'm not going to go chapter and verse into any thinking. What I will say is, I believe the time period you're talking about, I'd been in office for a couple of months. The investigation, in my view, was not concluded into the conduct in particular that is the basis for the charges today. Since that time, we've had more evidence made available to the office and opportunity to meet with additional witnesses. So as I said earlier, I've been doing this for 24 years. I don't bring cases prior to a thorough and rigorous investigation. Now, having done so, the case has been brought.
Mr. Brad, Garrett Hake with NBC News. Your predecessor took a hard look at this case and decided not to charge it. Federal prosecutors took a hard look at this case and decided not to charge it. Do you believe you have new evidence that led you to decide to charge this, or why now?
Well, as I just mentioned, we have had available to the office additional evidence that was not in the office's possession prior to my time here. And as to your part of your question about the federal, we have a distinct and strong, I would say profound, independent interest in New York State. This is the business capital of the world. We regularly do cases involving false business statements. The bedrock, in fact, the basis for business integrity and a well-functioning business marketplace is true and accurate record keeping. That's the charge that's brought here, falsifying New York State business records.
Just to read back one line from your statement facts, the participants also took steps such as mischaracterized for tax purposes the true nature of payments and furtherance of the scheme. Do you allege former
Wild times, y'all.
I'm not going to go beyond the plain language statement of facts, which I think speaks for itself. So the charge is falsifying business records. The charge requires, as I specified, criminal conduct that was concealed. One of the concealed crimes we allege is New York State election law. I went through in our statement of facts, which I think many of you have in front of you, goes through things including text messages, emails, contemporaneous phone records, multiple witnesses. All of that will be, as you saw in the fall, borne out in a public courtroom in downtown Manhattan.
Last question is Jonah.
Charges related to the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels, the release from your office, also mentions another woman, Karen McDougal, as well as a doorman. Can you comment on how those players are related to the charges you've brought to the case overall?
I'm glad you put your finger on that, because it's not just about one payment. It is 34 business records, 34 false statements in business records that were concealing criminal conduct. And the earlier question about New York State election law, when I talked about conspiracy to promote a candidacy by unlawful means. Those unlawful means, we allege, include the conduct set forth in the statement of facts, which is additional false statements separate and apart from the charged ones in AMI documents, planned false statements to taxing authorities. It is not just that one $130,000 wire payment. Thanks so much.
You were just listening in there, Alvin Bragg, relaying all the information there around this here on Live Now Fox. I am Andy Mack. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the indictment coming down and the arraignment happening earlier today. You just heard there from the district attorney out of Manhattan on these 34 criminal charges. Of course, we're following this very closely here on Live Now Fox. I want to give you a live look outside of the courtroom right now as it's clearing out. Certainly.
People are still, people's heads are still spinning. Trust and believe. People's heads are still spinning. My head is still spinning. I'm still shocked about all this. Okay, I'm shocked. I'm shocked it actually happened. Real talk. I am shocked it actually happened. But as I was saying earlier, I want to get back to that. Marjorie Taylor Greene was out here in these streets. Okay. Trump is in the air. They're flying off. They're doing their thing. He gone. Okay, he gone. He has left. Oops. He has left Manhattan. Okay, he is on his way back to Mar-a-Lago so he can go out there and speak amongst his people and all that, which I'm sure will be happening nonetheless soon. Okay, and it will happen tonight. Allegedly, he's supposed to be doing this fizzang. He's supposed to be doing some things tonight about all this. But real quick, I wanted to share with you guys. So about 3 hours ago, okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is like, you know, his cheerleader, okay, was out in the streets of New York City trying to speak on behalf, like speak to Trump supporters and all that. And it didn't really work out according to plan. So there's some videos, there's some clips that have come out on Twitter that we got to take a little bit of a look at, you know what I mean? Just to see what's going on here. All right.
Congressman. Whoa.
And this was after.
Now let's talk about the truth.
And that was after she was there. And she was in that area trying to talk. And she didn't even last 5 minutes. She didn't even last 5 minutes. Okay. Yes. Whoops. The adulterer. Yeah, that too. Let's not forget about that. CrossFit. Doing burpees with her man. But BB, yes, his hype woman. Absolutely. He could do no wrong in her mind. She is under his wing. And I'm sure she's learning from the best. Let's be real. So she used this opportunity to, you know, for some growth. You know, using these opportunities to keep her name out here. Man, she was just recently on 60 Minutes. And that was interesting. I'll just say that. Okay. That was definitely interesting. Let me just show you guys this one too. Because this is another video, and this like a cell phone video. But she was there trying in this square, trying to talk to her people, you know, talk to Trump supporters and all that. And people came up and just, yeah. They whistled her off her soapbox, literally whistled her off her soapbox. Man, oh man, craziness, crazy. Okay. So those are just pieces of it. But let me show you guys this title again, because this is why I brought it up. I mean, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene comparing Trump to Nelson Mandela and Jesus to Jesus as she's mobbed outside arraignment court. Okay. Absolutely insane, guys. Okay. Now Trump is Nelson Mandela. Now Trump is Nelson Mandela. She says, so obviously she was there during the chaos, and a lot of this chaos was out here, but she said President Trump is joining some of the most incredible people in history being arrested today. Nelson Mandela was arrested, served time in prison. Jesus was arrested and unalived by the Roman government. This is what she told the Right Side Broadcasting Network as she drove around New York City with her buff boyfriend, her CrossFit boyfriend. You know what I mean? I hit a PR today. You know? That is insane. Like, no. Nelson Mandela did not pay off an adult film star with hush money. He was fighting on behalf of his people, fighting against the apartheid that was going on in South Africa at that time. The injustices that he was dealing with, insane. And then we already know who Jesus is, okay? Jesus of Nazareth. We already know who Jesus is for the most part, okay? But But you got a person who's comparing Trump to Nelson Mandela and Jesus. And I'm telling you right now, there's a group of people out here that are eating this up going, yep, she telling it like it is. MAGA. That makes no sense to me, guys. Let me continue, but this is the kind of ridiculous rhetoric that's being put out here. Real talk. And some people just need to chill the F out. Real talk. People need to chill out. He is not a god. He is a human being. I would say the same thing if people were going crazy over like an Elvis type character or something like that. I'd be like, yo, tranquilo. This is a human being. This is a person. This is not a god. This is a human being. Stop risking it all for this one person. But anyway, Jesus. She continues. She says there have been many people throughout history that have been arrested and persecuted by radical, corrupt governments, and it's beginning today in New York City. And I just can't believe it's happening. But I'll always support him. He's done nothing wrong. Now, here's the thing. If you want to think, okay, if you want to feel that he has done nothing wrong, that is totally, totally fine. Okay. But it is very crazy for you to sit here and say that the governments are corrupt now because he's being indicted on moving his money funny. If he did this, he'll be found guilty. If he didn't do this, he will be exonerated with these charges. And honestly, this will destroy DA, District Attorney Alvin Bragg's career. If this falls apart, he will look like Boo Boo the Fool. He will look like a fool with his pants on the ground. Real talk. So he's got a lot riding on this whole situation too. But it's funny because let's say he gets reelected. Suddenly the governments are cool again. The governments are fine. Everything's back in line because he's back in office. It's just insane to me. Nothing's right unless he's in office. And again, I will say this. Let's say he gets elected. Okay? Holy crap. What is this? What is this? What is this? Hold up. I'm gonna show you guys that in just a second. Hold on. Don't look. Okay. Now, I'm gonna get to it. I promise. Hi. Bring it back to my face. There you go. It's slow on the focus. Okay, guys. I'm gonna get to that. I promise. There's some breaking information that is crazy. Crazy information. We're gonna get to it. I promise. But it's just crazy. What if he runs? And he can't run again after. Suddenly what? Marjorie Taylor Greene, the governments are corrupt again? It's unjust because we don't have Trump in office? I'm just saying people need to start thinking logically out here. He is not the second coming of Christ. He is not. And it also shows what her brain is at. Her brain out here, it's filled with mucky muck. Okay? I do need to show you guys the video because we got to show you guys the video.
Trump is joining some of the most incredible.
What the hell? Let me do that again.
President Trump is joining some of the most incredible people in history being arrested today. Nelson Mandela was arrested, served time in prison. Jesus was arrested and murdered by the Roman government. There have been many people throughout history that have been arrested and persecuted by radical, corrupt governments. And it's beginning today in New York City. And I just can't believe it's happening, but I'll always support him. He's done nothing wrong.
Oh, God.
President Trump is joining some of the most incredible people in history being arrested today. Nelson Mandela was
Oh, come on. Don't muck it up now.
arrested, served time in prison. Jesus Jesus was arrested and murdered by the Roman government. There have been many people throughout history that have been arrested and persecuted by radical, corrupt governments. And it's beginning today in New York City. And I just can't believe it's happening, but I'll always support him. He's done nothing wrong.
Okay. Jesus. Nelson Mandela. Jesus. You can't make this up. You can't make this up, y'all. No offense. I'm sorry, guys. If you're a fan, I heard all that. By all means, do you, boo-boo. But that is too funny. She's comparing Trump to Mandela and Jesus. And the fact that she found Jesus, the fact she found Jesus in that speech, the way she found it, it's amazing. She's so proud of it too. Nelson Mandela, Jesus. Oh my God. Okay. Just so you know, that's true. That is proof. That was said. She said that. She said what she said, right? She said what she said. Jesus. Oh, good golly, Miss Molly. All right. Let's get into this piece. This is very interesting information that just broke just now. Okay. We already know that. Well, actually, one thing we don't know. Okay. Jesus. Trump faces a maximum of 136 years in jail as unsealed indictment reveals 34 felony charges for catch and kill scheme that included $30,000 in hush money to a Trump Tower doorman who claimed Donald Trump had a child, get this, out of wedlock. Say what? This is insane. So where's that kid at? If he had this kid out of wedlock, who this kid at? Who's this kid? Who this kid be? For real. Jesus. Because, Jesus had kids outside of wedlock, allegedly. Right? Didn't he? No, he didn't. But, interesting, right? Nelson Mandela, Jesus. So let's continue with this. I'm sorry. The Jesus is really messing me up, okay? And you're right, Lisa K. Lisa K is like, it's called hush money, Pascal. Damn it. I get it. That's why it's called hush money. So he paid $30,000 to a doorman because that doorman knew that he had a love child somewhere. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Let's get into this, guys. This is new information. So we already know he pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business accounts or business records as he faced a New York judge and has become the first president ever in the history of ever. Okay? Very big deals. To be arraigned and charged with a crime. Not guilty, he told, okay? Now, we already know he sat alongside his defense team in the Manhattan courtroom with his hands folded on his lap and a stony-faced look for the unprecedented hearing in the Stormy Daniels Stormy Daniels hush money case. Now, one thing though too is I wonder why they don't say like the Daniels McDougal hush money case, because it is also Karen McDougal's name is allegedly in this indictment as well. And again, we have it right here, okay? And I'm going to look at that later. But apparently within this indictment, there's some other things that are going on, baby. Okay? That's very interesting. I just wonder why they don't say, see, even her name's right here. Okay? So why don't they just call it the McDougal Daniels hush money case or something? Because she in it too. But the most salacious The most scandalous name out here is Stormy Daniels. Let's be real, because she does spicy films for a living. I think that's the only reason why. Okay, so these charges are related to a $30,000 payoff to a doorman who was trying to sell information about a child that Trump allegedly fathered out of wedlock, $150,000 to former Playboy model Karen McDougal, and a $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels. Now, I'm also wondering, how does one get more money than the other? Like, why is Karen McDougal getting more money than Stormy Daniels? Didn't they do the same deed with this dude? So in a way, Stormy Daniels should have got her money right, or at least had a conversation with Karen and said, hey, how much did you get? You know, and said, let me get that 20 grand more. I'm just wondering. It's very interesting. It's very interesting information. But the most interesting part of this information is the doorman of Trump Tower was trying to sell this information about a love child. Real talk, a love child, y'all. Altogether, these charges: falsifying business records in the first degree, carrying a maximum sentence of more than 100 years in prison under New York law. But even if convicted on all charges, it's unlikely Trump would be sentenced to that much time. Yeah, of course not. Each charge, probably not, okay? Each charge is a low-level felony that carries a maximum of 4 years in prison for each count. There is no formal conspiracy charge, but the state of facts released by prosecutors describe how Trump orchestrated a scheme with others to influence the 2016 presidential election by identifying and purchasing negative information about him to suppress its publication and benefit the defendant's electoral prospects. The hearing lasted about an hour, which we already know. Okay. And he's going to be speaking later around 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 7:15 Central Standard Time. So I might be on a little bit earlier than that. Okay, maybe like 6:45 Central Standard Time, so I can talk with you guys, get ready, and maybe find this this speech that he's going to be doing. But nonetheless, this is very interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting indeed. Some wild stuff that's going on here. And again, you know, it doesn't matter what side you stand on. Doesn't matter what side you stand on with this situation. This is still all very wild information. This has been a wild piece of information and a wild day. It's been a media circus, but it's also been a circus out here in these streets. Aside from Marjorie Taylor Greene going, Jesus, he's Jesus. He's just like Jesus. There have been other people just losing their doggone minds out here too. Okay. Actually, hold on. Let me get some super chats. I think I have a couple super chats here. Yeah, I see a couple. There we go. Oop, there we go. Thank you, Nicole B, for the 5. Lovely show, Pascal. Your consistency is unmatched. Road to 100,000. Thank you so much. Yes, we are working our way towards it. And you know what? I haven't done anything political on the show in a really, really long time. So I appreciate you guys being somewhat fair in the comment section. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? At least you guys are keeping the conversation open to a certain extent. Okay. And yeah. You know, I appreciate the 5 and just trying to give you the stuff that's been going on in the world. You know what I mean? That's just trying to give you the information that's going on in the world. Okay. Got a couple of the super chats before we get into this. Obsessed for Disneyland. Hello. Thank you so much for the 2. Praise God. Yeah. Praise the powers that be. The good powers that be. How's that? The good energies in the world. Anna, thank you so much for the 2. Thanks, Pascal, for making crazy-ish fun. Yeah. Some of y'all get too serious. And it's like, hey, I'm just giving you guys the information. Like, we can agree to disagree, or we can agree jovially. Shall we? Okay. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much for having fun with me and just enjoying the crazy day, because it's been a circus. And you can't help but laugh at both sides of the fence, because both sides have been going crazy. You gotta be honest. Looking at this situation where you got people who are on both sides of the fence losing their doggone minds. The fact that he has that kind of power over people blows my mind. That he affects people that greatly blows my mind, to the point where they'll go out and do violent things to each other, so on and so forth. It's just wild to me. It's wild. And we're going to get into this piece a little bit here in just 2 seconds. I'm just getting into this, to the catching up on the on these super chats. Tyler, thank you so much for the 2. Don't cover him speaking. We all know what he say. I appreciate you saying that, but I'm still going to do it because I do want to see what he has to say and how he's going to spin it. Because let's be real, that's one of the reasons why we watch him, because he got this ability of spin, and then people eat it up and they consume it and they believe that it's real. Like Marjorie MTG, her going, Jesus, he's just like Jesus. The most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But there are people out here that will actually consume that and go, yup, he's being persecuted like Jesus. It's amazing what people consume with their eyeballs and their ears. That is the most stupidest stuff to ever be uttered out of somebody's mouth. And people out here are going to eat that up and go, damn right, he is. He is the second coming of Christ. It's insane. So I'm interested to see what he has to say in this speech in Mar-a-Lago. I really am. I really, really am. Because I'm sure it's going to be comical. You're going to do his thing, okay? He's going to do his dance, listen to something, okay? I wonder what his walkout song is going to be. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We shall see. But this is very interesting, nonetheless, okay? How people have been clashing out here. Just the amount of anger. This is really something to think about. This really is something to think about. Okay? Sorry, I'm reading some of y'all comments. Now, you know, yeah. And if it seems like a thing, like if I lose people from this watching this show and all that, then that's people that don't need to be on this show because they're not listening. They're not listening, and they're not allowing to open up their own minds and hear another person's thoughts and opinions about this. And also, I haven't really said anything about Trump. The only person I've ever said anything with my own showing my true colors was about MTG. Sorry. I'm not going to sit here and say that I like MTG. But when it comes to Trump and this indictment, I'm interested to see if this is going to actually stick. See, I'm not even sitting here. I know a lot of people are doing cartwheels and jumping up and down and doing somersaults and getting all excited. And I'm sitting here going like, I want to see if it actually sticks, if this is viable, heavy charges. This could be nothing. This could be an absolute, as I say, nothing burger. This could be nothing, guys. More than anything, I am shocked. I'm just shocked that it actually happened. This is a moment in history that we cannot not talk about. That's insane for us to avoid this piece. If there was some mass tragedy, if there was a building that went down or something like that, that was just something that is unprecedented or, unthinkable, etc., we're talking about it here. It's the same thing with this. This is a moment in history that we all need to watch and consume and watch together as a family. So, yeah, I'm covering this. Damn right. Okay? Because it's wild. You cannot deny that this is some crazy stuff that just went down. Crazy. And of course, there's people who are angry, who feel some type of way. But like I said, see, even in this photo, it's just crazy to me how much. And I talk about both the people who are against and for. You just see how much there's a clash. There's so much of a clash. And it's like, man, imagine if we didn't even pay attention to this ish. I'm sure it'd make Trump very unhappy because we all know what Trump is like. Even you Trumpers out there, even you Trump supporters out there, you diehards, you guys know that he likes the attention. You can't sit here and say that he doesn't. Be very irresponsible of you to think that he doesn't like the attention, okay? And that's neither here nor there. That's not me saying a bad thing or a good thing. That is just a known fact. But imagine if both sides didn't do this kind of stuff. Walking up here and acting a damn fool, trying to start fights with each other just because one likes one and one doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. It's like going to a baseball game and the two opposing fans of the two different teams get into fisticuffs because they just think their baseball team is better. It's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. Okay. I want to see this happen in the best, most calm way possible. And so far from what they've seen so far, it has happened in a calm way. We all need to get along, and we all need to understand that everyone's going to have their own opinions. They are. Okay? They really, really are. We just have to understand that not everybody wants to run this world the exact same way. That's it. And if I lose followers from that or, subscribers from that, then, hey, good on you. No disrespect to you guys, but I'm going to speak my mind on this channel. And I'm going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. And this is a moment in history that we have to talk about, whether you like it or not. Tyler, okay, for real history in the making, see how it unfolds. Exactly. And now we're hearing more information, which is pretty wild to me. Pretty damn wild to me. Okay? Pretty damn wild to me. He might have a love child. I mean, I'm not really surprised. Just to be completely real, just to keep it totally 100 with you, I'm not surprised. Shoot, doesn't what's his face? Arnold Schwarzenegger had a love child. I mean, like a lot of them do. You got to remember, these guys are powerful individuals. They're out here, I'm sure, hanging out in You know what I'm saying? Chopping it up with whoever. Flying off to islands. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. You never know. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. But see, this is the piece I wanted to show you. Because somebody had a huge banner, and if I'm correct, it said something like Trump lies all the time. And then this Trump supporter lost her mind and went up and was jumping up and down on it and trying to like actually like ruin the banner. Yep, there it is. Is she trying to eat it? Does it look like she's trying to eat it right there? It kind of does. It kind of does. I think she was just trying to grab it with her hands like this, and it's a weird photo, right? And yeah, Tyler, unhinged like a mug, okay? But she just lost her mind. Yeah, it was a dumpster fire. But we all wanted to see it, right? We all wanted to see it. Was she trying to rip it with her teeth? I don't know what she's doing, man. But that's crazy. It's like, yo, let these people have their opinions. You have yours. Just sit down, girl. Chill. As soon as you get off that banner, they're going to stretch it out and put it out again. They're not running up and grabbing your hat off your head and, peeing on it and lighting it on fire. Let them do their thing. Some people were very happy and excited about what happened today, and some people weren't. As you can see, this is the same girl, just losing her mind. I just don't know how this happens. Okay? I don't know how that happens. And I don't know what that is. You see that right there? What the hell is going on? Oh my God. See, just absolute mayhem. This whole thing could have gone. I mean, it still went smooth for what it is, okay? For what it is. This whole thing still went smoothly. From my understanding, no one got hurt. There was no J6 situation, nothing of that sort. And I'm thankful for that. But everybody needs to learn how to, represent their side diplomatically. Because we don't need more pain. We don't need more people hurting. The other thing, too, is these charges that he's looking at, we'll see what happens with it, guys. We don't know what's true and what's not. We don't know if the information in these indictments are actually real or not. So let's sit back and see what happens. But still, no matter what, this is a very big moment in history. Whether you like it or not, this is a very, very big moment in history. The only thing we can do is sit back and wait to see what unfolds, because this could either exonerate and make Trump stronger, or like exonerate and make Trump stronger, which it already is doing right now, and he hasn't even gone through trial or anything of that sort. It could also ruin this DA, Alvin Bragg. His career could be dust as soon as this is over. Or Trump could get in some serious trouble. So let's see how this sticks and all that. We shall see. But everybody needs to chill out. Even all y'all that are in the chat getting angry and stuff. I'm just a guy talking about this stuff, giving you guys the information. That is it. Everyone needs to chill out. Okay? Everyone needs to chill out. Man. He's not Jesus, guys. If that angers you, I don't know why you're on YouTube. Okay? Anyway, guys. And he's definitely not Nelson Mandela. And if that angers you, I don't know what to tell you. but that's the doggone truth. Okay, he ain't out here fighting for the rights of people and being thrown in jail for fighting for the rights for equality. Okay, he's not. He got arrested. He's got arrested and arraigned and is charged for giving hush money to models and adult film actresses. Very different. Very different. But anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. Okay, I really do appreciate it. I need to check this poll as well, because that definitely, I'm sure, going to be interesting as well. Hold on. Where is it? There we go. See? Let's see. Hold on, I'm waiting for this to show up. Here we go. Out of 635 votes, 70% of y'all said him guilty, and 29% of you guys said him innocent. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. But nonetheless, we're going to find out more as time goes on. We will find out more information. We got time. Okay? We got time. What? Oh, that's stupid. That's stupid. But anyway, I appreciate all y'all for being here. And this is the other thing too, really quick. Let me just say this. These are one of the reasons why I don't talk or wax political that much on this channel, because of how polarizing and how angry people get and all that. It's frustrating sometimes because you just want to tell the story and people automatically assume the worst. And it's like, no, you're not listening. You're really not listening at all. You just automatically think that you hop on, and as soon as I talk about anything, you think I'm on the opposing team or whatever. I'm just telling you guys the stories. Just telling you guys the stories. Everyone chill. This is the problem that we have right now. We really do. We all need to know and learn how to attack these controversial topics in a more mature way, because not everybody is going to agree with you guys. Not everybody's going to agree with me. We should be able to talk. This is the reason why you're seeing people going to fisticuffs and getting in each other's face, because they don't know how to act right. They don't know how to talk things out in adult-like manners. We all turn into children lately. And this is not how we should be approaching things that are going on politically in the world. How are we going to change if we're all getting ready to get into fisticuffs all the time? How are we going to change as a people? How are we going to change as a country? How are we going to change as a world if every time that we we have two opposing sides meeting in one area, it turns into things like this? We need to be better, y'all. We all need to be better. And it starts at home. It starts within yourself. We all need to start practicing this stuff. Okay? Period. But anyway. Hold on, I got Judah just said the spiritual deafness, blindness, and deception is real. Yeah. Just saying. I just wish we learned how to speak things out without it turning into and then it just, it's frustrating, y'all. We could be better than this. Okay? We could be better than this. We can. And you know what? That's his show. Hey, it's actually not bad. I don't agree with everything he says, but hey, he says it in a way that you can listen and just talk about it. It's just a different approach, y'all. It's just a different approach. That's all. Okay? But anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. Okay? Wait, somebody said, okay, Urban Masks just said, Urban Mosque just said, what's my recourse, Pascal? If I'm demonstrating and someone rips my items, turn the other cheek? No, I'm not saying that, but does it have to go in the fisticuffs? Does it? Does it have to? I just say take the higher road if you can. But if they're physically attacking you, you got to do what you got to do, baby. You got to protect yourself, period. But not everything has to turn into a fight. That's all. Okay? Not everything has to turn into a fight, dag nabbit. All right? Anyway, I appreciate all y'all for being here. Okay? Real talk. It's insane. Reasons why I don't talk about political stuff. Real talk. It's too frustrating. Hit that like button down below. I appreciate it. If you can, that would really, really mean a lot to me. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. That'd be greatly appreciated. And it'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. Okay. I will be on in a few hours. I definitely want to see this speech and see what he has to say. I'm going to take a quick scan of this indictment to see if there's anything else that we can pull out of it to talk about as well beforehand. And then, we'll rock and roll and see what he has to say. Hopefully it'll be a short live. Okay. But nonetheless, this is history in the making. And I think we all should witness it as a family. So anyway, don't forget to hit that notification bell to all, set it to all so you know when I'm going live. Okay. And I appreciate you guys for being here. All right. It's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in just a couple hours. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.